A soft smile, a tilted hat, a glance quickly lowered. For most observers, Princess Beatrice's appearance at a recent royal event passed without incident. But for those who watch closely, for those who read between gestures, it was something else entirely. A quiet study in strain, in symbolism, in what it means to carry a royal name when your family's place in the firmament has shifted. She does not speak, she does not protest, and yet every public step she takes speaks volumes. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crowniverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. In the ever-changing hierarchy of the British monarchy, few branches of the royal family have undergone such a dramatic reversal of visibility and power as the House of York. Once central to royal pageantry, today the York name often appears under a different kind of headline, one tinged with controversy, tension, and legacy reckoning. At the center of this narrative stands Princess Beatrice of York, eldest daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah, Duchess of York, a royal by birth, but not by function, a woman whose every public appearance is weighed not for what she says, but for what she carries. And increasingly, what she carries is a surname stained with scandal. Prince Andrew's fall from public life is well documented. Once seen as the Queen's favorite son, his ties to Jeffrey Epstein and the disastrous 2019 BBC interview that followed led to a series of decisive actions from Buckingham Palace. He stepped back from public duties, his military titles were revoked, and though he remains a prince by birth, his role within the monarchy has, in effect, been erased. Yet the impact of that erasure does not end with him. Princess Beatrice and her sister, Princess Eugenie, are not accused of any wrongdoing, and yet they move through the same corridors, walk under the same royal banners, and attend the same events. Their lives remain embedded within the system, but the system itself has shifted around them. When Beatrice appeared at a recent royal garden party, observers noted her placement in the photographs. Not beside senior royals, not among the firm's working front line, but on the edge, visible, present, but distant. In one frame, she adjusts her hat. In another, she appears to speak to a staff member, eyes downturned. No moment of note, and yet, to those attuned to the nuances of royal performance, it was a masterclass in quiet restraint. She has no official role in the monarchy. She does not receive taxpayer funding for her public life. She works, reportedly, in finance and technology. Her marriage to Edoardo Mapelli-Mozzi in 2020 was a private affair by royal standards, held at Windsor, attended by only a handful of guests, including the late Queen and Prince Philip. No grand carriage procession, no BBC broadcast. Beatrice is, in many ways, the modern model of a royal trying to live without the crown's full burden, and yet never truly free of it. The York sisters were once spoken of in the same breath as William and Harry. They walked behind Diana's casket. They stood on palace balconies. They were, at least in the public imagination, royal children of the next generation. But in recent years, their presence has shifted to the periphery, not exiled, but exhaled, a quiet removal from central imagery. The cause is complex: the monarchy's desire to streamline, Andrew's disgrace, and the ongoing recalibration of public roles in a post-Elizabeth era. Still, Beatrice remains loyal, composed, present at coronations, funerals, and jubilees. And it is that presence, restrained, unspoken, that holds power. Reports suggest that behind palace walls, discussions have occurred regarding how to manage the visibility of non-working royals. In the age of slimmed-down monarchy, every appearance must be deliberate, every inclusion strategic. And for Beatrice, this translates into a delicate balancing act. She is permitted to stand near the center, but not within it. She attends, but does not speak. She walks, but does not lead. Her proximity to scandal is one not of choice, but of inheritance. Her father's actions have cast a long shadow, and while royal protocol insists that individuals be judged on their own merit, public perception is rarely so precise. In one particularly telling detail from recent appearances, Beatrice was seen wearing a brooch once worn by her grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. A small object, easy to miss, but rich with symbolism. It may have been simply a tribute, or it may have been something more. A quiet statement of continuity, a reminder of lineage, of legitimacy, of a bond that scandal cannot erase. Observers also noted that during King Charles III's coronation, Beatrice and Eugenie were seated behind senior working royals, not among them. A small distinction, but one that speaks volumes in a monarchy where seating plans are a language of their own. She does not protest this positioning, she does not seek the spotlight, and yet, through her restraint, she commands it. The question then becomes not whether Beatrice will return to the fold, but whether she was ever fully allowed to leave. Those close to the family suggest she maintains warm relationships with both the King and the Prince of Wales, that she remains deeply loyal to her grandmother's memory and to the institution itself. But loyalty in the royal context is not always rewarded with prominence. Sometimes it is simply endured. In private, Beatrice is known to be thoughtful, articulate, and kind. She has spoken in the past about her struggles with dyslexia and advocates for education reform and awareness. She supports charities. She engages quietly behind the scenes. But in public, her role remains undefined, neither fully royal nor fully independent, a figure suspended between legacy and reinvention. Some royal watchers believe that Beatrice could, in time, return to more visible duties, particularly as the monarchy faces questions of generational succession. Others suggest her current positioning is permanent, a respectful distance that protects both her and the crown. No one in the palace speaks publicly about this. There are no memos, no statements, but the choreography of royal life rarely happens without intention. In photographs, Beatrice often looks towards the center, towards the king, towards her cousins, towards a future from which she remains adjacent. In one recent appearance, she was seen adjusting her glove, her face calm, her posture perfect. But something in her expression seemed to echo a deeper thought, one not spoken but felt, a quiet weight, the kind carried not on one's shoulders but in one's name. The House of York, once proudly at the center of royal celebration, now moves through a quieter chapter, a chapter defined not by public triumphs, but by a kind of emotional endurance. Beatrice, through no fault of her own, becomes a symbol of inherited responsibility, of reputational fragility, and grace beneath the strain. She is not asked to lead, she has not stepped forward, but perhaps in remaining steadfast, she is leading nonetheless. Royal history is filled with those who claimed power through voice, through conflict, through ambition. But there is another kind of power, the power of presence, of composure, of waiting. What Beatrice waits for, no one can say. A restoration of her family's public standing, a new role in a changing monarchy, or simply the space to live without inherited expectations? Her story, still unwritten, offers no easy answers. But as we watch her, not for scandal, not for speech, but for poise, we begin to understand that royalty is not always defined by crowns or titles. Sometimes it is defined by silence, by survival, by showing up. And so she does, again and again, with dignity, with restraint. And we, in turn, must ask, in a monarchy obsessed with visibility, what does it mean to be quietly royal? Let us know your thoughts below, and, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Crowniverse. The next chapter is already unfolding.